Dr. Greg Kessler, can you begin by telling us a bit about yourself and what you do in Athens, Ohio?
Sure. I am a professor of instructional technology in the Educational Studies Department. I supervise a PhD program where I have a number of PhD advisees. I currently have 42 PhD advisees. And prior to that, I had been in a linguistics program where I ran a call program for a number of years, a little over a decade.
Can you begin by describing the important trends in computer-assisted language learning?
Yeah, there are probably a lot of trends that others might identify, but there are certainly things that I think are most important. Artificial intelligence is huge. The potential for us to interact with each other and with technology directly by getting automated feedback can simplify things for teachers and provide students with opportunities for extensive practice that they might not otherwise have. And I think some of that and a lot of other tools that are available today can take some burden off of teachers. So I think there are ways of making a teacher's life a bit easier. There's a lot with AI. I'm thinking of bots and things like that give automated feedback on speech and on text, but there are so many other things as well. Augmented reality is really huge. The ability to have students interact with people around them in the physical space around them that is meaningful with additional digital content that may be multilingual, may be focused on a discipline that they're studying, just allows them to do so many interesting things. I like virtual reality as well, but the nice thing about the augmented reality is you still have that shared space that's meaningful for the people who are in that space.
The tools for learner collaboration online, you've written quite a bit about them. They've really evolved. So what potential do you see for this in adult language training?
Yeah, collaboration. I think there's probably no workplace in the world now that doesn't use technology for collaborative teamwork, right? So all of those things have the potential to be used in classrooms. I think there's no limit. Most of the time we talk about collaboration, it's between students in one single class. But you've got telecollaboration where you've got classes in one part of the world interacting with others. You've got the ability to bring in experts from a given content area. You've got the ability to bring individual students from different parts of the world together around a shared interest or maybe a shared, less commonly taught language, right? And now we're seeing this addition of a gig economy that incorporates concepts like what we have with Uber and Lyft and Airbnb, but being done by tutors. So you've got the ability for students to collaborate with other students with their teacher and then be getting additional feedback from these possible tutors on the side. I think the way we collaborate is we're just on the brink of doing it more and more in a wider variety of ways, I think.
You've written about project-based learning and language training. If you were training adult newcomers, how would you make use of it?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of project-based learning. I think there's really almost nothing that you can't teach with focusing it around a project. If I were working with learners like that right now, one of my favorite kinds of projects to do is to create customized aggregated maps so that the students are constructing maps around maybe the places they are from, the places they've lived, maybe around access to information or media or popular sites that they like to visit. Historical sites, forms of entertainment, all kinds of things like that. But students can create these maps and embed videos and embed text and embed images and then share them with others and get feedback on that, and have this kind of really interesting collaborative project-based experience. I mean, they can do it with any number of other things. They could be making travel brochures, right? Or writing Amazon reviews together, as I was talking about today in my talk. But I really like the maps. I think a lot of people really connect to that, and it's so easy to do.
Our project operates in a language training sector where teachers are struggling to keep up with change, lack of PD time, deficiencies in local internet connections and hardware, competing paths for innovation are some of the things that tend to overwhelm them. Can learning technology help simplify their jobs?
I certainly think it can. And I think some of the ways that it can is by using the technology that people already have. The technology and social media, mobile devices are ubiquitous in our lives today. We don't need to have language labs. We don't need to have computer labs. We can use the social media people are already using and the devices they're already using in ways to engage them that are really accessible. So that's at least a really good entryway, right, to do this. And I think by doing that, you have people check into a social media site, and that's how you take attendance. You can have them gather their content in a social media site, and that's how you collect homework, right? Because I imagine today either getting paper things that you might lose or misplace, or getting it even through email is a nightmare. I mean, I think I'm not alone in feeling like email's trying to kill me, right? It's overwhelming, and I can't keep up with it. But when you get everything together in one place on the internet, then you have all of that gathered, and you didn't have to do it. You didn't have to check the email 50 times for every student, right? So everything's in one place. I think there are a lot of efficiencies today. And of course, more conventional things like learning management systems also allow these opportunities as well.
So portfolio-based language assessment and task-based learning have been mandated across our entire sector in Canada. What are some ways that computer-assisted language learning can support task-based learning?
Yeah, well, I think that's actually really related to the last question, right? I think the way that we use social media, we can focus activities around specific tasks or design them to be naturally requiring those tasks, right? And I think that's also a portfolio. The online portfolio is a place where students can keep their evidence of their production and of their abilities. And over time, you can see the evolution of that portfolio. And again, that's another efficiency that allows the teacher the opportunity to have a place, a portal, a repository where they can gather everything and make their lives maybe a little bit easier.
Sweet. Do you have some advice for very busy teachers who find learning technology just too daunting and complex? They're reluctant to innovate.
Yeah, I can understand that. I've met teachers like that throughout my career. And they weren't trained to use these things, right? It wasn't part of their education in most cases. So I think really probably the best thing is to find a community of practice, to find others who are interested in doing similar things and meeting with them on a regular basis. They could probably find a community that is actually local, where they could actually physically get together with other people. I mean, conferences like Calico are a great example of that. But I think maybe they can also join online communities. TESOL offers a lot of online training, including the Electronic Village Online that happens before the conference every year, where people who are unable to afford the conference or arrange for the travel or whatever can interact with people from around the world who share their interests and learn about some of those trends and those really interesting approaches to thinking about the way we can teach more effectively and efficiently today.
Thank you. And finally, a question that's a little vague, but deliberately vague. What role does leadership play in learning technology innovation?
Well, unfortunately, I think the role is really, really important. I've tried to be an innovator in this area for a long time, and I do training with teachers and teacher trainers around the world, and often I will interact with people after I've done something like that. Maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's a year, maybe it's 5 years after, and I hear that nothing happened, and it's always because the administrators didn't support it.
Well, thank you so much. It's been great meeting up with you again at Calico 2019 in Montreal. As usual, you create a lot of excitement about call and learning technology wherever you go. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you. Always good to meet with you.